I found out my parents had transferred the family business to my sister. So I quit working 80 hours a week without seeing a single cent. A week later, Dad called desperate. Our best client is about to leave. I calmly responded, let the heiress handle it, right? My name is Daniel. For 10 years, I was the one who kept the family business alive, a handmade furniture factory my grandfather founded decades ago. I started at 20, fresh out of high school, with a simple dream, to carry on his legacy. I worked 80 hours a week, no pay, no days off. I'd arrive at the workshop at 5 a.m., cut wood, assemble tables, chairs, cabinets, talk to suppliers, soothe clients who wanted everything yesterday. I'd leave late, exhausted, hands calloused, back wrecked. My friends stopped calling because I could never go out. No dates, no life outside those four walls. I gave everything for the company, believing my effort would earn me a place in its future. I thought my parents saw my dedication, that one day they'd say, Daniel, this is yours too. What a mistake. My sister Clara, 2 years younger, lived in another world. She worked part-time, showing up at 10, sipping coffee, chatted with employees, and leaving before noon. I never saw her touch a saw or check an order. But my parents paid her a salary, gave her a new car, covered her beach trips and travels abroad, all with the business's money. I said nothing, believing my work spoke for me, that my early mornings and sacrifice weekend were noticed. I always thought effort would pay off. How naive. A month ago, one night changed everything. I was in the workshop office, reviewing papers to close the day, when I found an envelope hidden behind old files. It had a confidential stamp. I opened it without thinking much. It was a succession plan. My parents had transferred 100% of the company to Clara. My name was nowhere. 10 years of my life. Waking before dawn, sweating every drop, missing birthdays and outings, worth nothing. I felt stabbed in the back. Rage burned. Sadness crushed me. I couldn't believe my own parents did this. I went home and confronted them. What is this? I said, holding the paper, trying not to raise my voice. My mom crossed her arms and said, It's for the best, Daniel. Clara needs stability. You can make it on your own. My dad barely looked at me, mumbling something about Clara having a modern vision for the company. Vision? She didn't even know the cost of a batch of wood. I asked what about my 10 years, everything I'd given, the midnights I stayed to finish orders. No answer, just silence. I went to my room, heart in pieces. I'd given my life for that business, and they left me out like I was nothing. I didn't sleep that night, lying awake, thinking. I recall freezing mornings in the workshop, the smell of fresh wood, the times I loaded trucks alone because no one else was there. I thought of the clients I brought in, the design ideas I proposed, the problems I solved when no one knew what to do. They'd use me. Rage grew, but slowly an idea formed. I wouldn't continue like this. I couldn't let them trample me. I decided it was over. The next morning, I went to the workshop as usual, but didn't start the machines or check orders. I sat in the office, grabbed a paper, and wrote, I quit. I'm not working 80 hours a week for nothing. Good luck. I left a note on my dad's desk, took my tools, some old photos of my grandfather with me in the workshop, and left, driving away. I felt a knot in my stomach, but also a weight lifting. For the first time in 10 years, I didn't have to wake up at 5. I didn't know what came next, but that sparked hope. The next few days were strange. I stayed home, aimless, called a few friends, told them what happened. You did the right thing. One said, You should start something of your own, Daniel, said another. I started thinking about what I could do. I searched online for stories of people who left jobs like this, advice for moving forward. I read about folks who walked away from family businesses and found their path. I imagined opening something small, maybe furniture related, but mine. I was scared, but for the first time in ages, I felt I could build something for myself. A week later, my phone rang. It was my dad, voice tense, almost desperate. Daniel, come back. Our best client, the one who buys 40% of our furniture, is leaving. We don't know what to do. I listened in silence, letting his words sink in. Days ago, I'd have run to fix everything, as always. But I wasn't that Daniel anymore. Calmly, I said, "Let the errors fix it." I hung up, sat on the couch, heart pounding. I didn't feel bad. For the first time, I was setting a boundary, defending my worth. After hanging up, I thought my grandfather. He founded that factory from scratch, with his hands, his sweat. He taught me to cut wood, to measure twice before cutting. Spoke of hard work, fairness, building something lasting. I remembered a journal he kept, seen years ago in a box in the attic. That night, I went to find it. I climbed to the attic, moved dusty boxes, and there it was. I opened it carefully. There were my grandfather's notes, ideas for the business, dreams of its growth, stories of his first clients. I read page after page, feeling him speak to me. He wrote of hard days, barely enough to eat, but pushing forward. He stressed valuing everyone who built the business. Then I found something that stopped me cold, a handwritten agreement. It said the company should go to those who built it in equal parts. My grandfather wanted fairness, effort to count. I felt he was giving me a chance, like he knew I'd need it one day. I closed the journal, heart racing. This could change everything. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I had to fight. I called a lawyer, a friend of a neighbor, told him everything. 10 years of work, the succession plan, my grandfather's journal. That agreement could be key, he said. Gather everything, emails, receipts, anything showing your work. I spent the day searching. I found supplier receipts I negotiated, client notes thanking me, messages where I solved problems at midnight. Each paper proved what I'd given. I didn't know how this would end, but I felt a new strength. For the first time, I was fighting for myself. I thought of my grandfather, how he believed in justice. Maybe this could truly honor his legacy. This was just a start, but something told me it was worth it. The next day, I met the lawyer, Javier, a calm man about 50 with glasses and a direct way of speaking. I brought the journal, receipts, emails, everything. He reviewed each paper calmly, taking notes. "This is good, Daniel," he said, holding the journal. "Your grandfather made this clear. The business is for those who build it, and from what I see, you kept it alive." He explained the agreement could have legal weight, but we needed more. Prove your work was key. That without you it wouldn't run. And if there's anything odd with the finances, we'll find it. That gave me an idea. For years, I handled most numbers, supplier payments, client invoices, inventory. I'd sometimes seen odd things, expenses that didn't add up. Clara always said they were office costs, and I, trusting, let it go. Now it smelled like trouble. I went home, dug through an old box of documents I kept just in case. Hours later, I found something. Invoices for trips, clothes, even an expensive couch, all paid with company money in Clara's name. There were receipts for luxury hotels, fancy restaurants. Nothing to do with furniture. My stomach churned. Not only had they left me out, but she was using the business as her personal ATM. I took it all to Javier. His eyes widened at the receipts. "This is big, Daniel. If we prove your sister misused funds, it strengthens your case. Shows she wasn't fit to lead." He said we'd file a lawsuit to void the succession plan, using my grandfather's agreement and this evidence. But he warned, this will get ugly. Your family won't make it easy. Prepare yourself. I nodded. I was ready, or thought I was. The next days were a whirlwind. Javier prepared the papers, and I kept searching for evidence. I found old texts on my phone from a key client, Mr. Marquez, always saying, "Daniel, you're the one who makes the magic here." I saved everything. I also spoke to a couple of workshop employees. One, Luis, a carpenter with us for 15 years, said, "Boss, without you, this place would have collapsed." Clara never knew what was going on when she tried buying cheap wood, and we almost lost a big order because it was no good. He patted my back, promised to speak if needed. That gave me strength. I wasn't alone. But then came the first blow. One afternoon, my mom called. "Daniel, how can you do this to us? We're your family," she said, voice shaking. I tried to explain, Mom, I gave everything for that business. 10 years, no pay, no life, and you gave it all to Clara. She got stern. Clara needs it more. You're strong. Stop this madness, or you'll destroy us. I hung up, throat tight. I knew they wanted me to feel guilty, but I wouldn't budge. That night, Clara texted, You're selfish, ruining everything for your pride. I read it, deleted it. Not worth a reply. Javier filed a lawsuit days later. He explained it could take months, but would start with a preliminary hearing. He told me to stay firm and not discuss the case with my family. Let them come to us, he said. I tried to move on, but it wasn't easy. Town gossip spread. A neighbor stopped me on the street. Hey, Daniel, heard you're fighting your parents. What's up? I just said it was personal and moved on. I hated everyone knowing, but that's small towns. Gossip flies. One night, trying to relax, my phone rang. It was Mr. Marquez, our best client. Daniel, let's talk straight. Since you left, this is a mess. Clara doesn't answer. Your dad doesn't know what's happening, and the last furniture came poorly made. I'm about to go to the competition. It hurt to hear. That client was my pride. I'd won him, kept him happy. I told the truth. Mr. Marquez, I quit because they left me out. It's all in Clara's hands now. He sighed. I respect you, Daniel. If you come back, I stay. If not, I'm gone. I hung up, thinking. I wanted to help, but I couldn't return. Not like that. The next day, I told Javier. That's good, he said. If a big client relied on you, it proves you with a backbone. We can use that. He asked for a letter or email from Mr. Marquez. I wrote the client, explaining I couldn't return, but asking him to put in writing how my work was. He replied fast, Daniel, you made this business special. Without you, I don't trust them. Good luck. I saved that email like gold. The preliminary hearing came quickly. I entered a cold, gray-walled room and saw my parents and Clara across from me. My mom wouldn't look at me. My dad seemed uneasy, and Clara shot me a glare of pure hate. The judge, an older, serious man, listened as Javier explained my grandfather's agreement, my 10 years of work, Clara's odd expenses. My parents' lawyer, a slick guy in an expensive suit, said I was just an employee with no rights, that Clara was the best choice. It hurt, but I bit my tongue. Javier showed the receipts, emails, Mr. Marquez's note. The judge said little, just that we continue in weeks. I left trembling, but hopeful. Javier patted my shoulder. You did well, Daniel. This looks good for you, but there's a way to go. That night, I went to a cafe to clear my head. A girl, Anna, who worked there, recognized me. You're from a furniture workshop, right? I ordered a year ago, and you delivered. It was perfect. I smiled, first time in days. We talked. She said she always admired our work. It felt good, like my effort wasn't for nothing. But things got crazier. One day, Luis the carpenter called. Daniel, you need to know this. Clara came to workshop today, yelling at everyone, saying it's your fault everything's falling apart. Then she tried changing a big order without asking me and almost ruined it. I worried. The workshop was chaos without me. But I couldn't go back. I told Luis to stay out of it and report anything odd. I knew Clara was nervous, and that could help me. The next days, I helped Javier. We found more bank statements, big withdrawals, payments to luxury stores, all in Clara's name. Each fine was like a nail in her plan, but it hurt too. This was my family. Now we were enemies. One night, I sat with my grandfather's journal, reading again. His words gave strength. Honest work always pays. I wanted to believe him. This wasn't over, but I felt, step by step, I was reclaiming what was mine. The days before the next hearing were intense. Javier and I met often, reviewing every paper, receipt, message. We found more proof of Clara's spending, plane tickets, jewelry, a pricey club membership, all from company funds. Javier looked at me. Daniel, this is dynamite. Not only did they exclude you, she abused the business. This changes everything. But I felt no triumph, just heavy sadness. I wanted justice, but not like this, exposing my sister's wrongs for all to see. One morning, Louise called again. Daniel, it's worse. Clara fired 2 guys from the workshop, saying we didn't need them. One was our best sander. Clients are complaining. Orders are late. Your dad's going crazy, yelling at everyone. It hurt to hear. The workshop was my grandfather's dream, now crumbling. I wanted to help, but knew I couldn't. Hang in there, Luis, I said. This will resolve soon. I hung up, stomach knotted, but more determined. The night before the final hearing, my dad called, voice tired, broken. Daniel, stop this. You're destroying us, your family. I took a deep breath. Dad, I gave 10 years, 80 hours a week, no pay, and you left me out. This isn't revenge. It's for what's fair. He sighed. Clara can't handle this, I know, but your mom, and I thought it was best. I didn't reply, hung up, stared at the wall. I wanted them to understand, but maybe they never would. The hearing day came. I entered the cold, serious room, the judge ahead. My parents and Clara were there. Mom avoided my gaze, Dad looking drained, Clara glaring like I was a villain. Javier stood, spoke clearly, showed my grandfather's journal with its equity agreement, my receipts, emails, Mr. Marquez's note calling me the backbone. Then the heavy stuff, bank statements, Clara's luxury, spending with company money. The room went silent. My parents' lawyer claimed they were operational costs, that I was just a worker with no rights. The judge didn't seem convinced. Clara took the stand, spoke fast, nervous. I wanted to modernize the company. Those expenses were for her clients' connections. Javier asked, so a $3,000 couch was for clients? And beach trips? She turned red, stammered, no clear answer. My dad spoke next, admitting they trusted Clara because they thought I'd be fine. It hurt, but I held firm. When my turn came, I was honest. I gave 10 years, 80 hours a week, no pay. I brought clients, solved problems, built that business. My grandfather wanted equity, and I was left out. I looked at the judge, then my parents. I just want what's fair. The judge took his time. Days later, he called us back. He entered, sat, and ruled. The founder's agreement is valid. There's clear proof of the plaintiff's contribution and misuse of funds by the succession beneficiary. The plan is voided, given the business's state. It's ordered sold. Profits split equally between the children after debts. He looked at my parents. Improper expenses will be investigated. I left shaking. I'd won, but felt no joy, just relief. News spread fast. Town talk split. Some said I did right. Others that I was hard on my family. My parents barely spoke to me. Clara sent a furious text. You ruined everything. Hope you're happy. I didn't reply. The factory sold in weeks. A competitor bought it. Profits split. My parents and Clara lost money to debts that surfaced, and the mismanagement gossip hit hard. I saw them once after the ruling at home. My mom cried. My dad said, I expected more from you, Daniel. I didn't know what to say, left heavy-hearted. With my share, I started over. I found a small space, rented it, set up a workshop. Nothing big, just a table, tools, and me. I made simple furniture, chairs, shelves, sold locally. The first week, Anna from the cafe stopped by. Hey, this looks good, she said, eyeing a chair. I always knew you were good. I smiled and we chatted. She shared her dream of a cafe with homemade pastries. Maybe I'll make you some tables. I promised. She laughed, and for the first time in months, I felt light. The workshop grew slowly. A neighbor ordered a desk, another a shelf. Mr. Marquez called one day. Daniel, heard about your new place. I need office furniture. Can you? Excited, I worked hard, delivered on time. He was thrilled. This is like before, Daniel. You got the touch. That gave me pride. It wasn't my grandfather's factory, but it was mine, built by my effort. One night, I sat in my workshop, eyeing tools and half-finished pieces. My grandfather's journal sat on a shelf. I opened it, read, Honest work always pays. I smiled. Maybe he was right. My business was small but growing. I made new friends like Anna, who brought coffee and chatted. My life wasn't perfect, but it was mine. My parents and I barely spoke. Clara didn't reach out. It hurt, but I knew I'd done right. I looked out the window. Sun setting. Workshop smelling afresh were like old times. I felt peace. I'd lost a family or a part of it, but gained something better. My freedom, my future. I lifted a half-done chair, ran my hand over the wood. This was the start, and for the first time in 10 years, I was excited for what lay ahead. My grandfather's legacy wasn't in that lost factory, but in me, in what I could build. And with that, I got to work.